I have three great prizes here. Welcome on this most vibrant of May days. Union Square is full of radical voices and signs. Workers' rights are human rights. And may it be a peaceful rally as it moves to Wall Street. Tonight, we are here to honor the Atlanta Journal-Constitution's groundbreaking investigative series, which exposed the largest case of academic fraud in the nation's history. For almost a decade, Atlanta's civic and political leaders trumpeted the, quote, remarkable transformation of the city's historically low-performing schools, symbolized by dramatic increases in scores on standardized tests. But through tenacious digging, that old-style shoe-leather reporting, deep investigative reporting, and the commitment of both the paper's news and editorial divisions, reporters Heather Vogel, Alan Judd, and John Perry revealed the widespread systemic scope of the city's cheating scandal. The series had impact. It prompted 2 state inquiries as well as a grand jury investigation, which continues. It led to a purge of top school system officials and the suspensions of dozens of teachers and administrators accused of cheating. Perhaps most important, it resulted in remedial instruction for students who had often no idea their test scores were fraudulent. Also critical, the series set off a wave of investigations nationwide, showing this was not a problem isolated to Atlanta. It transformed how the general public understands the standardized testing debate. It also informed how districts across the country now look at their own test score gains. Here's another measure of the impact. Before these stories broke, organizations and groups promoting the market-based approach to education reform were getting close to a free ride. They're still getting close to a free ride, but the work of this series has taken a measure of what is going on in that arena. And it took the Constitution's reporting to capture and convey the culture of fear, intimidation, and retaliation that had permeated the school district. Importantly, by not simply demonizing the individuals participating in the cheating scandal, instead digging deeper and giving real weight to the importance of teachers' voices, so often demonized, giving weight to their voice in the education reform conversation and the importance of representation, the Journal-Constitution helped the public understand the impact of the pressurized, data-driven culture where school funding, staff bonuses, jobs often hinged on the scores. The human bottom line, to date, the Journal-Constitution's reporting, pictures and editorials serve as one of the sharpest rebukes of No Child Left Behind, putting real faces and stories on the failings of the policy. And finally, what means so much to those of us who care about the future of journalism at a time when so many newspapers and news organizations are struggling financially, the Journal-Constitution's news staff is less than half its size of 5 years ago. This series exemplifies how the paper stood by its reporters, stood for journalistic integrity, despite the pressure of powerful people in the Atlanta corporate community who appealed to executives at the paper and its owners, seeking to quash a series they considered bad for business. So through the work of the 3 reporters, who I hope will come up, the Journal-Constitution got this story right again and again, and Atlanta schools, its children, the nation's children, are better for it. Thank you.
Thank you very much to the Hillman Foundation and to everyone else who has supported these stories for the last 3.5 years, including our wonderful editor, Donna, who's been the best advocate a reporter could ever hope for. In 2010, the week that the governor of Georgia appointed special investigators to root out cheating on standardized tests in Atlanta, my husband and I had a baby boy. He was our first child. I went back to work after 3 months, and I quickly learned what an incredible leap of faith it is to leave your child in someone else's care. It was then, I think, that I first really could grasp the deep betrayal committed by the educators we were writing about. A betrayal of their students, a betrayal of their students' parents, and a betrayal ultimately of their whole community. These kids were young and depended on their teachers and principals and the administrators above them in a way that few suburban middle-class kids do. They came from poverty, often lived in public housing, often went home to single-family households on the verge of disaster. Their schools were their only hope, really. By erasing their mistakes on tests, educators in Atlanta ensured that their academic failings would remain a secret from other teachers, from their parents, from the few people inside or outside their schools that might have been a lifeline to them. The school system still hasn't figured out exactly which students were affected and passed up through the grades inappropriately. It's just too complicated to figure out whose tests were affected the most. I still think about those kids. I wonder how long it will take for parents in Atlanta to trust their schools again. The cheating scandal is an incredibly painful episode for everybody involved. But without its exposure, the betrayal, I don't doubt, would have continued to this day.
I too would like to say thank you to the foundation, to the judges. This is a very meaningful award to us, because it is a tough time in journalism, and from time to time I feel a little sorry for myself, to tell you the truth. I've never held a job that wasn't on a newspaper. Even in high school, I worked part-time for a 4,000 circulation weekly newspaper in my 2,000 population hometown, which is a pretty incredible market penetration. And here I am, all these years later, hearing almost every day that newspapers are dying, that anybody can be a reporter, that crowdsourcing and Facebook and Twitter and Tumblr and Storify and everything else are making us obsolete and, for that matter, irrelevant. So sometimes it's hard not to wonder what's the use. But I do remind myself, and this helps me with that journalism can make a real difference, especially journalism that serves the public, that tries to bring about social justice in a way that many of the winners in the video tonight have done. For years in Atlanta, as Heather said, thousands of school children, mostly poor and mostly minority, were being harmed in profound ways by the cheating of adults who wanted to get ahead. And I honestly believe that if, without the full force of our news organization behind us, that if we had not been asking the questions and seeking the answers, that still would be going on. So journalism does matter. The Hillman Foundation understands this and celebrates it. We are so grateful to receive this award because it does represent the highest ideals of public service journalism. Thank you.